Derek, wait, is it true you're getting married? Are you really going to be getting married this soon?
Oh, Billy? Wow, it's been a while.
Come on, don't dodge it. Is it seriously true that you're getting married?
Yeah, it's true. Wait, did you hear it from my mom or something?
Totally, I heard it from your mom. She told me that you came by to introduce your fiancé the day I was out of town. I was on a trip.
Ah, that explains it. I did think it was weird not seeing you around that day.
And she said you're starting to plan the wedding soon, too. Is that also right?
Yeah, kind of. We haven't nailed down the details yet, but we're hoping to do it before the end of the year. Still a lot of planning that needs to go into it on our end and the family's end.
Wow, okay then. Well, in that case, you have to spend at least $100,000 on the wedding, okay?
Wait, what?
$100,000 minimum. Come on, custom-made wedding dress, non-negotiable. At least 5 outfit changes throughout the day. The food, you have to go with the highest tier menu the venue offers. As for the entertainment, make it unforgettable. Hire a professional comedian, or better yet, bring in a full-on performance troupe. And don't even think about skimping on the wedding favors. Oh, and of course you're inviting at least 300 guests.
Whoa, what are you even talking about? You're acting like you're the one I'm marrying. How about you settle down a little bit?
I know that, but this is just the bare minimum of what any woman dreams of, Derek.
Seriously?
Of course, it's common sense. I mean, sure, if the guy's not financially stable, maybe expectations have to be adjusted. But you're working at a major company pulling in a great salary. You've got no excuse not to go all out. You should be reading between the lines and making her dreams come true without her even asking. That's what a good groom does, right?
I don't know. I mean, I thought we had a pretty honest relationship, you know? She tells me what she wants, and I do the same, and she's never mentioned wanting a wedding that extravagant.
Then she's probably just holding back. She's being polite. You know how girls are. We sometimes say what we think is reasonable, even if it's not what we really want.
Is that so?
Definitely. There are some feelings only another woman can understand. So you, as the thoughtful fiancé, should go back and ask her again. Ask her honestly, what kind of wedding does she truly want?
You might be right. We're planning to talk more about everything soon anyway. I guess I can bring it up and double check.
Yes, you should. Don't waste this top-tier advice from your childhood best friend.
All right, I'll ask. Just don't say I didn't warn you if she tells me she's actually fine with a small ceremony.
If she does, it's still your job to give her the wedding she didn't even know she wanted.
Okay, Billy, I've got to head out. Got something lined up after this.
All right then, let's catch up again soon.
Yeah, see you around.
Allie. Hey. Hello? Don't ignore me. I don't care how long it's been. Slow replies are not acceptable. Allie! Oh, hey, Billy. Sorry, I didn't see your message right away. Ugh, you're so slow. Seriously. I had my phone buried in the bottom of my bag. I don't need excuses. Just answer me. Is it true? You're getting married? What? Don't give me that what. I already know, so don't play dumb. Just tell me the truth. Yes or no? Yeah, I am. We're planning to get married by the end of the year. Great. Then you need to tell your fiancé this. The wedding needs to cost at least $100,000. Got it? Wait, what? Why? Don't question me. Just do it because I said so. You're a boring, plain little introvert, so don't you dare go against the queen of introverts, me. That's not fair. And honestly, what does my wedding have to do with you? Excuse me? You're seriously telling me you're not inviting me to the ceremony? I never said that. But we're planning a small wedding, just close family and a few good friends. Unacceptable. Unacceptable? Yeah, that's right. So here's what you're going to do. The wedding dress has to be custom made. You need a minimum of 5 outfit changes. Go with the highest tier catering available at the venue. The production and decoration need to be absolutely over the top. Hire a celebrity for the entertainment. No cheap favors. Guests should feel like royalty. Invite at least 300 people. And finally, the whole thing needs to cost at least $100,000. Are you even listening to yourself? This is what you should say if your fiancé asks what kind of wedding you want. Just memorize it. I'm sorry, Billy, but that's not happening. We've talked about it. Spending that kind of money on a single day just isn't realistic for us. Wow, so you're openly defying me now. You've got some nerve. You still haven't changed, still bossing people around like we're all characters in your little drama. What did you just say? I said, I feel sorry for you. Excuse me? You feel sorry for me? Yeah. You act like you're above everyone, like people should jump at your every demand. I know I'm not flashy. I know I come from a modest background, but even someone like me found someone who loves me for who I am. He wants to build a life with me, just the two of us, not for show. So please, don't interfere. Blah, blah, blah. Spare me the fairy tale nonsense. Here's the deal. Either you have the wedding I say you should, or I'll remind you what it was like back then. I'll play with you again, just like the old days. Stop it. Then do exactly what I said. Go tell your fiancé you insist on the kind of wedding I described. And if you even think about going against me, you know what happens next. Derek, this is bad. Your bride has canceled the wedding.
Huh?
I was so excited about the wedding I couldn't sleep and arrived at the venue early, but there's a huge commotion because the bride hasn't shown up. I've been trying to call her, but she won't pick up.
I see.
So I went to her apartment to check, and the neighbors said they saw her get into a car with some guy. Apparently it was either her ex-boyfriend or some guy she's been cheating with. It seems like she ran off with him. It's a total mess here. Haven't you heard from the venue yet?
No.
Seriously, you should just dump that cheating woman. Anyway, Derek, I have to tell you something. I have actually had feelings for you this whole time.
What?
I know it's not the right timing to confess like this. It's kind of underhanded, but I can't just leave you like this, all hurt and abandoned, so let me be your bride instead.
Huh?
Let's go ahead and continue with the wedding. I'll take her place as the bride today. Now, since it's settled, let's get things ready. I know the wedding dress is custom made, right? Oh, I can't believe it, but even if it's under these circumstances, I'm marrying the man I have always loved.
Wait a minute.
What?
What are you talking about? The bride canceled and now you're saying you're taking her place. If this is some kind of prank, you should have thought about the timing.
No, it's not a prank.
The bride is here with me and we're already having the ceremony in Hawaii.
Hawaii?
Yes, Hawaii.
It's not the venue at the Yotube Hotel in St. Louis?
No, we decided on a private ceremony with just close family in Hawaii.
Huh?
We're planning to hold a reception back home in a restaurant once we return.
Wait, hold on a second. What about the $100,000 wedding? What happened to the 300 guests you promised?
Oh, you mean that? After talking with my fiancée, we decided a Hawaii wedding was what she wanted. We found a wedding package that fit within our budget. So here we are now in Hawaii.
No way. Stop with these ridiculous pranks already.
Why?
Because right now I am in a state of shock here because you're okay with still marrying Allie.
What? Allie?
There's no way a wedding could happen like this.
My wedding partner isn't Allie, though.
Huh?
Look, this is the picture of me and my fiancée at the wedding. It's a photo the photographer just took of us.
This person, April?
Yeah, she was our senior back in school, the student council president. We reconnected when we started working at the same place, and that's when we began dating. So, yes, she's my bride.
What, Allie isn't your bride?
Nope.
What?
And wait, why is Allie even mentioned here?
Because, Derek, you were always with Allie back in high school.
What?
I've been waiting for the day you and Allie would break up, and then you go and say you're getting married? I was so upset.
No, Allie and I were just in the same club. I was the president and she was the vice president. We spent a lot of time together because of that. Besides, didn't Allie have a boyfriend in college at that time?
What?
Hold on a second. Now that I think about it, I remember someone mentioning that Allie was planning to get married around the same time as me. No way! Did you do something to Allie?
What? No!
You did something, didn't you? I'm going to contact everyone I can think of about this now. If you have any guilt over what you did, you'd better go tell Allie's family the truth right away.
Derek, please help me.
What is it?
I don't know what to do. I just got served. They're making me pay damages, and I have to cover the cancellation fees for the wedding, too. They're saying I owe $40,000. I can't pay that, Derek. I really can't. What am I supposed to do?
You're supposed to pay it.
What?
You brought this on yourself. You charged ahead without checking anything, let your assumptions drive your actions, and look what happened. You thought you knew everything. You didn't even stop to ask anyone. And on top of that, you were planning to hijack the whole wedding from the start, weren't you? You tried to force your fantasy on me and Allie, talking about some $200,000 wedding with 300 guests, pushing your dream onto our lives? Come on, you were never a victim. You're the villain in this whole thing.
But I didn't mean...
Don't give me that. I was in Hawaii, remember? I couldn't be there. I couldn't stop you directly. All I could do was reach out to people once I realized something was off. And you know what I found out? Allie was dragged out of her home early that morning. No one else was home. Everyone had gone out. She was locked in a storage shed until almost noon. She couldn't even scream for help. And you, instead of taking any responsibility, instead of apologizing, you ran. You vanished from the venue like a coward. Allie's wedding day was ruined. She was humiliated, traumatized, treated like garbage, and you were the one who did that to her. So if all you have to do now is pay $40,000, honestly, you're getting off easy.
But I don't have that kind of money. That's an insane amount.
Then I guess you'd better start preparing for the police to get involved.
The police?
Yeah, what you did to Allie, it's not some little mishap. It's serious. You detained her, you physically removed her from her home and locked her up. That's criminal no matter how you want to frame it.
You're blowing this way out of proportion. She's fine now, right? I heard you're planning a second ceremony later, so it's all okay in the end, isn't it?
You seriously don't get it, do you? The fact that you're still using words like blowing it out of proportion tells me everything I need to know.
Derek, please, I didn't mean to hurt anyone. I just wanted to marry you, that's all.
If that's what you wanted, then you could have just told me, honestly, like a normal person, not this. Not drugging up some fantasy, not sabotaging someone else's wedding to slot yourself in as the bride. And let me make one thing very clear. Even if you'd confessed in some sweet, normal way, there's no universe, not even a twisted alternate one, where I'd want to be with someone like you.
Derek, please.
No, we're done. I'm cutting you out of my life for good.
What? You can't mean that.
I do mean it, and frankly, after everything that's happened, I have no idea what you might try next. I'm not about to take chances with my wife's safety.
No, wait, please don't do this. Don't shut me out like this.
Don't ever come near me again. Don't call, don't message, don't show up. You're out of my life, permanently.
Derek, please, just talk to me, please.
I didn't hear the full details at first, and when I finally did, it came through the usual channels. My mother. She had a way of knowing everything, somehow connecting the dots even when the story seemed fragmented. But hearing it from her didn't make it any easier to process. In fact, it only made the reality of what had happened more jarring. It was as if the story kept unraveling layer by layer, and with each new piece of information, the picture became darker, more complicated. Billy, as my mother explained, had fought fiercely against paying the $40,000. But it wasn't just a simple refusal. It was a drawn-out battle of resistance, of digging her heels in, trying to avoid what was inevitable. She was trying to evade responsibility at every turn, hoping that if she ignored the problem long enough, it would disappear. She locked herself in her room, withdrew from any meaningful conversation, and just hoped that everything would somehow resolve itself without her having to lift a finger. But things don't work like that. The world doesn't bend to our will, no matter how hard we try to avoid it. And in the end, the reality that Billy had been so desperate to avoid was going to catch up with her no matter what. It was Billy's parents who finally stepped in. My mother said that they hadn't wanted to. They didn't have the money, and certainly they didn't have the emotional energy to bail their daughter out of yet another mess. But in the end, they couldn't stand by and watch her drown, so they paid the $40,000, every cent of it, so that Billy wouldn't have to face the full extent of her actions. They did it because they were parents, and despite everything that had happened, they loved her. But what did that really mean? Was that love an act of kindness, or a failure to set the hard boundaries Billy needed? In some ways, it felt like enabling. It wasn't just the financial burden, it was the emotional toll of constantly coming to Billy's rescue when she couldn't, or wouldn't, take responsibility for herself. Of course, the payment didn't mark the end of the story, not by a long shot. As my mother explained, Billy couldn't bear the way the neighbors looked at her after that. There were whispers, of course, there always are. People knew that her parents had covered the debt, and Billy couldn't stand the thought of being viewed as someone who couldn't handle her own problems. Her pride couldn't take it. So without a word, Billy packed her things and left, disappearing from our lives once again. It wasn't surprising. Billy had always been someone who would rather run than face the consequences of her actions, no matter how much damage it caused. But it still felt like a betrayal. She had caused so much chaos, so much pain, and then she just vanished as though nothing had ever happened. I guess I should have expected that, but I didn't. I didn't expect her to leave so abruptly, to vanish without a trace. And when she did, I had no idea where she was going or what she was going to do. I could only wonder what kind of life she was hoping to build, or if she was just running from her problems. The truth was, Billy's actions had always been motivated by a desire to escape, to avoid facing things head on. It was the easy way out, the coward's way, and that's what she kept choosing. But what happened next was something I couldn't have predicted. Billy didn't just vanish into some random part of the city. No, she took herself to a place even further removed from everything familiar, an industrial area far away from where she had once lived. Billy had gone to work in a factory. Not just any factory, but a place with a reputation. It was a factory that had long struggled with staffing issues, a place where the working conditions were borderline abusive, the kind of place people went to when they were desperate, when they had no other options left. And Billy, it seemed, was desperate. The factory she found herself in wasn't just any run-of-the-mill workplace. It was one of those blacklist factories, the kind that seemed to attract people in dire situations, those who had nowhere else to turn. The working conditions were dreadful, the hours were long, the pay was pitiful, and the environment was grueling. But that wasn't even the worst part. No, the worst part was the fact that Billy had been hired as a live-in worker. A live-in worker wasn't someone who just worked long shifts and then went home at the end of the day. No, Billy was expected to live in the factory, to be on call at all times. It was a dehumanizing situation. She was effectively a slave to the place, living and breathing the factory's demands day and night. The whole thing felt like a trap, a cycle that would never end. There was no freedom, no space for her to just be a person again. She wasn't allowed any of the basic human dignity that should come with a job. Her entire existence had been reduced to this monotonous, exhausting routine. She worked, she slept, and she woke up to work again. That was her life now. As my mother told me the details, it was hard not to feel a sense of disbelief. Billy had always been someone who took things for granted, someone who never had to truly struggle. She had the luxury of comfort, of choices, and yet she had thrown it all away. Now she was living in a nightmare of her own making, stuck in a system that showed no mercy. She was paying off the debt her parents had covered for her, but it wasn't just the money that she was paying for. It was her own soul in some way. The person she had been, the person she could have been, seemed to have disappeared with each passing day in that factory. My mother told me that Billy was working tirelessly day after day as if her very survival depended on it. And in a way it did. Every penny she earned went toward repaying her parents, trying to make good on the $40,000 that she had been too stubborn to pay on her own. But no matter how hard she worked, it was never going to be enough. The factory wasn't going to offer her a way out. It wasn't going to provide the kind of redemption she seemed to think it would. The more she worked, the further she sank into the quicksand of her own choices. I couldn't help but feel a strange mixture of pity and anger. Pity because Billy had clearly made a huge mistake, and now she was paying the price in the hardest way imaginable. But anger, too, because she had run away from the consequences for so long. She had avoided responsibility at every turn, and now she was living in a nightmare because of it. I wished, part of me desperately wished, that she could wake up and see the bigger picture. That she could realize that this wasn't the way to fix things, that working herself to the bone in some grim factory wasn't going to restore her sense of dignity. It wasn't enough. It wasn't enough to pay back the money or even the emotional cost of her actions. There was something deeper she needed to confront, something that couldn't be solved by simply throwing herself into work. But at the same time, I wondered if Billy was even capable of seeing that. Was she self-aware enough to recognize the cost of her actions, or was she too far gone, too caught in the web she had spun? I didn't know. I didn't know her anymore, and that's what hurt the most. The Billy I once knew, the one who had been so full of promise, the one who had made decisions without thinking of the consequences, had disappeared long ago. In her place was someone I didn't recognize, someone trapped in her own decisions. I could only hope that eventually Billy would understand. I hoped that she would come to realize that true redemption didn't come from running away or working endlessly to pay off a debt. It came from confronting the truth of what you had done, owning up to it, and making the conscious decision to change. But that wasn't something I could give her. That was something she had to choose for herself. And until that day came, if it ever did, there was nothing I could do but wait and wonder if Billy would ever find her way out of the mess she had made. Thank you for watching and listening. We hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Also, feel free to leave a comment about what you thought of the story. We look forward to seeing you at the next story.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and hit the like button. See you next time.